I have a challenge for you. Can you display the first 100 numbers, one on each line? You might consider the following. You could print first 1, then print 2, and you could do that 100 times. Now, whenever you are programming, if you find yourself doing something very repetitive, there's probably a better way. And to do this, you need something called a range. That's the first thing. So what the heck is a range? We're going to scrap this print idea. Well, range 100 is actually a built-in Python function that gives you access to, say, the first 100 numbers. Now, if you just run this code, press Shift-Enter, see what happens. Go ahead and get a new Colab notebook up and going. You can see it says range 0 to 100. It's not quite what we want, okay? It actually is a range of numbers, so it's showing the right thing. But to get inside of that range, to access each of the numbers individually, you need what is called a for loop. Hence the title of the notebook, for loop range. They can go together. So here's how you use them in combination. You start your for loop with the word for. Go ahead and put this down for now. So let's write for. And next, what you want to do is you want to be able to call out each individual number, right? You want some kind of a variable that you're going to use to reference the numbers, like 1, 2, 3, etc. And it's standard in computer science to use I for iterator. Okay, you could technically pick anything. You could pick in, you could pick num, whatever you want. That's your choice. For I, and then it's in, okay? So a for loop usually goes inside of something, and we're going inside of this range, okay? So we're gonna put the range back up top, for I in range 100, okay? And now we put a colon and then press return, and now we give the instruction of what we want the program to do for each number, that is for each I. And if it's to display it, then we want to show it through print. Okay, we can print out I, which again represents the individual number. So before running this code, let me just go over it one more time. A for loop, color-coded, loops through something. It goes through each element one at a time. Okay? You pick the variable to represent the element with. I've chosen I here, something else would work. Because you're going inside of something, the keyword in is utilized. And then here is the thing that you're going inside of. In this case, it's the function, the range between 0 and 100. After that, you put a colon, concluding your for loop, and then what follows are the instructions. And it's going to do that each time for each element, in this case, each number. Okay, so let's press Shift-Enter. Let's see what the code looks like. And look at that, you get a bunch of numbers all at once. Very beautiful. Now, when you're in Colab, if you're over here and you scroll up and down with the mouse, you know, that works. That's different than being on the right side and scrolling up and down with this bar. So I go inside and I scroll to the top. I can see it does start with 0. And if we go all the way down, the last number is 99, so it terminates with 99. Now, that is the first 100 numbers if you start with 0, but what if we want to actually print out 1 and then conclude at 100? Let's write the code for that. So it'd be, once again, for I in, and now inside of range, it starts by 0 at default, and you can actually choose to start at the number 1. The other piece is that, note that when we had 100 at the end, it did not include it. And so this is the way that ranges and a lot of things work in Python. The first number is included, the last number is excluded. So if I pick 100 here, it's not going to show 100. If I want to show 100, I need to stop at 101. And now I can do the same thing. My instructions are to print I. So I'll press Shift-Enter, and we can see, you can see it just shows the middle. So if I scroll to the top, you can see it does in fact show 1 as the start. And if I go all the way down to the bottom, you can see it does conclude with the number 100. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try the following. Print the first 50 even numbers. Okay, now there are different ways that you can actually do this. Okay, I'm going to show you first how to do it using range. So for I in range, once again, now it's up to us. Do we want to start with 2 perhaps instead of 0? And what do we want to finish with? Well, if it's 50, maybe we want to include 100. And if so, I could write 101. But what you can do in range is you actually have the number that you count by. The default is 1. So if you don't say anything, it's just 1. But we can specify 2, which means it'll go up by 2. Okay, then to actually use this loop of numbers with this range, we need the colon, press return, and once again, in this case, we will print out I. So again, what we have with these 3 numbers, the starting number, first number is 2, okay? The concluding number, it's not actually going to reach. So we're expecting it to end in the number before, which is 100. And the last number is how much you count by. It doesn't have to be 1. In this case, we count by 2. And the for loop is going to allow us to hit each number as I, and so we're going to print it out to show it. And you can see it starts with 2. It's showing the top. And if we scroll all the way down, you can see it goes all the way up to 100. Now, I do want to show you one more way of doing that. There's often many ways to do things. So for I in range, okay, this time if I want to say just the first 50 numbers, I could just put in 50 here. Now, if I want to start with 2, I guess technically you go up to 51, because I definitely want to start with 2 and not 0. And now I can print out I times 2, okay? Not 1 times 2, I times 2. And we press Shift Enter. So the idea here is that, you know, you can certainly like do anything inside of the code. It just does it for each line. So first times 2, it'll actually show 4, you know. It's actually interesting to look at. I want to start with 1 because when I double it, that will give me the 2. And when I get to 50 and I want to double it, that'll give me the 100. It can be helpful to look at your edge cases when you're trying to set something up like this. So now I press Shift Enter, and you can see once again, it starts with 2 and goes all the way up to 100. So using for loops with range is a great way to iterate through as many numbers as you like. And there are a lot of things that you can do with groups of numbers, as we'll see.